try it. You might like it.
Hey, welcome back to Reputation at Stake. I'm Pep, and this is my mama. Mom's 84 years old and has joined Randy and I on the carnivore diet. When Randy and I got home, we noticed that somebody, that would be Pep, messed up the camera and either turned on or turned off autofocus, so the video is not perfect. However, the voices and the stories are still good. So, are you ready to start?
Sure.
So Mom, okay, so she's 80, just about ready to turn 84. Your birthday's vastly approaching. And Mom grew up in the, oh no, what's that era where they didn't have a lot of food? The Great Depression, right?
Yeah.
It was right around the time of the Great Depression, but you were lucky enough to grow up on a farm in New Hampshire. So you had cows and chickens, and somehow your parents made do with 6 children?
Yep.
6 children. So we always talk about carnivore being this great diet where you eat, not we all, but we are learning that carnivore is like this nutrient dense diet where you can just live off of eating meat only. You can lose weight, you can gain weight, like your body just finds its perfect spot where it wants to be, right? But what did you grow up eating?
Oatmeal for breakfast, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch, and then supper was often bacon and eggs because we had lots of chickens and we harvested our pigs. But we did, my dad would go deer hunting, and so we had venison. He also joined in with other fellows from the church, and they would slaughter a beef cow, and they'd, you know, we had meat. We had a garden, so we had vegetables, and Mom learned to can, and that was very interesting. Mom was a city girl, raised in the slums outside of Boston, and their idea of a Christmas gift was each of the kids, and there were 4 in the family, asked for a quart of milk for Christmas one year and an orange.
1 quart to share, or each a quart?
I'm not sure.
How many kids were there?
4.
Okay.
3 girls, 1 boy. But anyways, so Mom didn't have a clue as to what farm life was like. She, like I said, she was raised in the slums. She played outside with the neighbor kids of races, I mean. And then all of a sudden, she meets my dad while she was working at a popcorn stand. And
on the beach of
Cape Cod.
Cape Cod.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And next thing they know, they're married, and here I come.
So she got from city, then she instantly became housewife on a farm.
Right.
Was it just her and Dad, or did she live with your grandparents?
Yeah, she lived with Dad's parents. They had an apartment upstairs.
Did they teach her how to cook and how to do stuff?
No,
or?
Dad did.
Dad did. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they lived on Cape Cod in a rental for a year, and then my grandparents got sick, and they asked Dad to move back home, and so he brought his beautiful blushing bride. That my grandparents, especially my grandmother, was not delighted with Mom. She just seemed so ignorant. She didn't know how to can, didn't know how to wash dishes.
Yeah, milk a cow, be a good farm wife. So you grew up basically eating oatmeal, peanut butter and jelly, white bread, like Wonder White bread. It wasn't even homemade bread.
No.
It was whatever at the store. Were you overweight like your entire childhood, or were you like normal size? Like,
I always felt fat.
But were you?
I don't think so, but I would.
Like you're seeing your picture, your face was like, you were not super obese like we see obesity in younger people.
But I always had plenty of bum.
Yeah. Got good genes.
Yeah. No, my jeans didn't fit too good.
People pay good money to have rounded bums nowadays. But you weren't like severely overweight. You were just kind of heavier than other people in your family, maybe?
Yeah.
Like when you're comparing, because your sister has always been super thin because of her health issues, right?
Yeah.
And then your brothers probably were super active,
Right.
probably even hyperactive, right? So they were always skinny. And were your grandparents heavy?
Not really, but cousins were. Many of my cousins have that overweight gene.
Yeah. Okay. So growing up, you ate this kind of like, I guess it was the new standard American diet back in the 30s and, well, the 40s and the 50s, right?
We never had soda. My grandfather did make, I don't remember if he made Moxie or some other.
Like root beer or something?
Yeah, because I remember we were over there visiting and the bottles began to pop their cork.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you didn't eat like you didn't have like tons of desserts every night, right? Did you have desserts once in a while? Or,
Oh, yeah.
like berry season?
Yeah, we had desserts almost once a week.
Isn't that kind of like a Finnish thing though? Like you
Yes.
have coffee and dessert?
Reikaleipä
I won't even try. You'll just spend the whole time correcting me.
and nissu.
Nissu, yeah, nissu is like a bread, a sugar,
And yeah,
fruit.
you dunk it in your gaffia.
Your coffee, yeah. So, so then you get married, and what did you feed your family for your first
Probably
marriage?
the best answer I can give you is I served food the same as it was served to me when I was a kid.
So you did like lasagna, or did you even have box meals back then? Hamburger helper and
There were cake mixes. That's
Okay.
But I don't remember pancake mix or cornbread or any of that stuff.
were you at all worried about your weight at that point in time?
I always felt fat.
Always.
Always.
Did you do, I know at some point you got put on fen-phen. That was closer to what, the 70s?
Yeah.
Did you always diet? Did you do anything to try and
Oh,
not feel fat?
I love being on diet pills. I had more energy than a tribe of monkeys chasing each other up a tree.
Okay, so fast forward. I know at one point you did Weight Watchers with, was it Jesse or I was little baby?
You.
And me? Okay, so in 79, 80s, maybe even a little bit further, you got on Weight Watchers and you actually lost weight, right?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Is that the church story?
That's a
Okay.
church story.
Tell us the church story.
I had gone to visit the assistant pastor's wife to work out something with the Sunday school program. And she said, let's go into the church, because she lived in the parsonage. And we're walking over through the driveway, and there was just a normal day. And she got to the door and she went to open it. And I said, wait a minute, who's with you? It was me. I had lost probably 100 pounds.
Wow.
And I had no idea that that was my scrawny little bum.
So you had lost that was Weight Watchers, right? So you pretty much always ate the same thing, right? You just had this one thing you would eat a lot of, like beans. It was weird. It was like a can of something. I don't remember because I was little, but
It was green squash. What do you call it?
zucchini.
Zucchini with some thinned down tomato juice or tomatoes that I'd add extra water to.
You had fish and you had veggies, and that's it. Like, do you remember what your typical day would look like?
Yeah, I'd have tea in the morning.
No breakfast.
No breakfast. Then I would have whatever I told you I had for lunch. And oftentimes I'd have it for supper. I just had so much energy.
Were you taking diet pills along with Weight Watchers?
Anytime I could get a hold of them.
Right. Well, the doctor would just give them to you, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't like a big
he
deal.
dispensed them. Yeah.
Okay. And that was like fen-phen, and like, didn't some of those have like cocaine or speed or something in them? Speed. They had something bad in them. But you had a lot of energy, because everyone always talks about how clean you kept the house and how you kept up with everything. And then you also did a lot of walking, right?
Yes.
Like walk everywhere, walk to pick Jesse up. You used to walk up this huge hill every single day.
Put you in a carriage and push you.
Yep.
When you were real little.
Yep. So then fast forward a few years, I remember you having tummy surgery.
Yes.
And why did you feel that was necessary?
Because I was so fat.
So now when you do that, what is it? No, you had the Roux-en-Y, right? Where they separate your tummy.
Yeah.
Did you, nowadays, when you want to go through any of those surgeries, you have to go through like a year of therapy and all that. Did you have to go through any of that?
It was requested that I do it, but I lived outside of town.
We lived in the boondocks of Maine at that time.
Yeah, yeah. and was involved in the private school.
Yeah.
And often was on call for various teaching positions or go.
So they kind of let you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
I just really figured once I got that zipper put in my belly that I would
it would fix all your problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did it?
No. No.
I remember you throwing up a lot. Like you were always throwing up. Like even when it never looked like you were even eating that much, you were always throwing up. Do you think, why didn't it work? Like, what do you think why it didn't work? Because obviously you have a lot of tenacity. I mean, you've had 7 kids. You've had, a couple different marriages. Like, you make things work. You are a survivor, essentially, right? So why didn't this work? What do you think?
I think I played games with the diet. I think I said, well, if that makes me puke, what will this do?
Were you always hungry?
No, I never felt hungry.
Like, do you always feel like, I know for me, I always feel like I'm not absorbing nutrients and I just have to eat and eat and eat and eat to feel, I think because of my system, I always feel like I have to eat a lot just to have a lot of energy or something.
Yeah, you want the full belly syndrome.
I don't want to feel full. I just want something else. Satiation. And we've learned that with the carnivore, you can get satiated because of fat finally. But zucchini and oatmeal and never made me feel satiated. Did you feel that at all? Or by that time your tummy was tiny and
everything I ate made me very sick.
Okay. But was it emotional then by that point? You weren't happy during that period. There was a lot of trauma. I mean, your whole life has been trauma. You had trauma as a child. Your first marriage, you had trauma and abuse. Your second marriage, you had mental abuse. Your third marriage, he probably had PTSD. You know what I mean? Like, you've always had like a steady diet of trauma. I'm sure that played a role in it. And then when you had the Roux-en-Y, that's, you were going through all the trauma with a very tiny, tight-knit Christian school and everyone trying to sort out the pecking order and all that kind of stuff, right? That's when all that was happening. Okay. So then came the 90s, right? Dr. Atkins.
Oh, yes. I lost good weight with Atkins. Oops, I'm leaning back.
Oh, you're fine. I think we're centered in, if you lean back, it's just when it was showing your belly. But you're fine.
Oh.
Sitting down is not the prettiest way to do a podcast, so we're fine.
Well, it'd be worse if I was standing. I'd probably fall down.
Yeah. So in the 90s came Dr. Atkins, and you did lose weight then.
Yes, it was easy. It was a very simple, easy plan.
Because you pretty much ate the same thing, right? Because I remember we would have the most vile thing on earth, and it was boiled yellow squash, zucchini, and onions. Just about every single meal, and it was slimy.
They were sautéed.
She put them in water and boiled the snot out of them. It was like eating slime.
It was good for you. It put hair on your chest.
It really did. But you pretty much ate the same thing. Why didn't you not just you. I think by then I was starting to get concerned about my own weight because I was always bigger than all the kids at school. And I remember eating that way. And we'd have, bacon and eggs, a lot of bacon. I don't remember, did we still have like chicken? We always had like chicken thighs and...
Well, chicken used to be an inexpensive meal.
Yeah, it's still pretty cheap. I mean, it's still like $1.89 a pound compared to beef that's $11 a pound. How long did we do that? How long did you stay on Atkins?
Off and on for a long time.
Like 14, 15 years.
Yeah, but I've always played games with diet.
Right.
I've always thought, I know a little bit more about this stuff than most everybody else does.
Can I get away with this? Can I get away with...
Exactly.
Yeah. And then entered in like holidays were always, You always wanted to make them special for everyone. Remember when dump cakes, this is before the internet, came around, and women at church would be talking about different recipes and entered the dump cake. And so you have to try several variations. And by then our family had shrunk, and it was just, the four of us. Dad was gone most of the time. So it was the three of us, right?
Right.
So you kind of stayed with the Atkin route after Dad died. You kind of stayed Atkins because you did Atkins when you moved in with my brother, right?
Yep.
And then, let's see, and then we did Trim Healthy Mama.
Yes.
Did you lose any weight with them?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did. Because you wouldn't finish your food. Like when you moved in with me, you never finished your food. You always fed it to the dogs. Brussels sprouts. Mom does not like Brussels sprouts, and we ate a ton of Brussels sprouts, and they were good.
No, they weren't. They tasted awful.
One of the carnivore diet doctors has a shirt, something about not liking Brussels sprouts, and I'll have to buy you one.
You think of me, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So we did Trim Healthy. By this time, you moved in with me in 2014. And we were doing Trim Healthy Mama, and you kind of did lose some weight. I think you lost like 20, 30 pounds when you first moved in with us because you weren't finishing your food. And then Randy and I, 5 years ago, we did carnivore, but you didn't join us. You did your own thing. You kind of did like a...
Played games.
Yeah, carnivore mixed with Atkins.
And THM.
THM, yeah.
Weight Watchers. And...
Yeah, you tried mixing all three, which, that's fine. I'm not where I want to be. Obviously, carnivore did not, it worked for me the first time, but I didn't stick with it long enough. So then enters this year. And we said, Rainey and I have had many false starts on carnivore. And we always end up falling into the arms of Ben & Jerry's and convenience foods. So we started in May. We started the middle of May, I think May 11th or 12th, and now it's August 11th?
Somewhere around there. You're right.
And at this point in time, you had been doing a very modified version of the carnivore diet because you live in an apartment without a full functioning kitchen. You were doing cordon bleu, chicken cordon bleus, meatballs, lunch meat, bacon, sometimes bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Egg wraps or low carb, kind of like a meat-based ketovore, right?
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, but what happened with your weight at that time?
I would get lonely, I think is the best term. And so I added certain little interesting things to eat on my diet.
Well, and your husband comes over, and he always has...
Oh, he eats yummy crackers with peanut butter or jelly or whatever, and he'd always...
peas or butter.
Right, and he'd put the bowl right in front of me when we were playing cards or whatever at the card table, and don't you want some?
But he would also measure it out, like you'd get 6 and that's it, and sometimes he'd leave the box, right?
Yes.
And then you'd emotionally eat at night, right? Yeah. Because you do live alone, and you don't, unfortunately, you don't have a large circle of friends here in West Virginia. And it could be lonely because you get a visit from me in the morning and at night when I come pick up my cat, and whoever you get to talk to on the phone that day, and then Donald, which, he comes over just about every single day, and you guys visit for several hours. So, yeah. So then Randy and I said, we're doing the carnivore diet. Again. And this time we're not quitting, right? And we didn't. So what was your why of joining us? Like your gut why?
I had seen both of you lose weight. So that when you went to visit Randy's parents, they were shocked at your size that had changed, and Randy's size had changed too. Yeah. I mean, I'm like 5 foot a half an inch, and they're close to 6 feet tall. So when they lose weight, they lose weight. Yeah. Everything about Elizabeth just shrunk. And I wanted that.
Yeah.
I knew I could do it because I played around with it long enough. And so after about a month of me cooking my own stuff, Elizabeth presented me with a plan I couldn't refuse. She said, I'll cook and bring your food down to you.
If I remember, or we don't go out for a long Sunday drive.
Right. We used to we used to each go out and
Go our own ways.
we
and
had
do
to
stuff,
put
yeah.
gas in the car, so we had to put gas in our tank too,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I would say that is really hard for me. Whether I'm doing real estate, out running errands, like today we just went and got our hairs cut. And, you know, it's really tempting just to say, let's just go grab some fast food. I mean, in a pinch, I would really grab McDonald's hamburgers and I probably would put cheese on them. But at the same time, it doesn't make me feel super good.
Right.
So doing carnivore, you've been doing carnivore, I think 2 weeks less than Randy and I. So we just did our 11-week update. So our 12-week update's coming. So you're 10 weeks in, 70 days.
Okay.
So how are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good. I love watching the scale go down, even if it's just 0.5 of a pound or just little pleasant surprises. I bent over to take my socks off the other night, and I reached down and I could actually stick my finger around the back of my sock and pull it down
Yeah.
over my heel, and I went, oh, wow. I wonder if I can do this foot. I can.
Yeah, one of your legs, I noticed in the mornings, you were putting your socks on and you're able to hike your leg up over your knee.
Without having a
Yeah, because you were getting to the point where you would either need help, like Donald or I to help you, or you had one of those sock shimmies.
Lift-o-leg.
No, the roundy thing with the long
Oh,
cords,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
put your sock over there and really struggle to get your foot in there. Yeah, I've noticed that's been really good. You kind of had a nice surprise at the doctor's.
I did?
Yep. She listened to your heart?
Oh, yeah, she couldn't hear the AFib.
Right.
I still have it.
Yes, you will.
because
You will always have it, and you will always go in and out of it. But normally, every time Mom goes to a doctor, the hospital, whatever, they're always like, "Oh my God, her heart is fluttering, and you know she's in AFib." And we're like, "Yeah, she's always in AFib." But at this doctor's appointment, she looked at you and she said, "Hey, Sal, you're not in AFib right now." So that's exciting.
That shocked me so much that I told her I was going to be 94 in August.
Yeah, you gained 10 years.
Elizabeth said, Mom, you're not going to be 94.
That was funny. So you're starting to notice changes in your body. You did have 2 weeks of no weight loss.
Right.
That was really discouraging, wasn't it?
In fact, there was some gain.
Yeah.
There were ounces, but they're big. Those are big numbers when you're looking for a pound off.
Yep. And I noticed, I so wish I would have recorded us at the start, like January 1. I wish I would have made a little video, because you would stutter and stammer and you'd have like blank words, and you'd say, you know what I meant, or you'd say really stupid things.
I called them brain fart.
Yeah, brain farts, yeah. But you could never, number one, you weren't very energetic. You were just kind of like waiting to die. Almost. Well, I mean, okay, we've had some shocking news and some bad family updates that aren't exciting. And then you just weren't vibrant about life anymore. It was like, this is my life now, you know? Like depression, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then you go on carnivore and suddenly in the morning, you're like a blabbermouth, like, you know? You just, you know, everything you can think of, you know, whether it's books or who you talked to last night or something that happens on Homestead Show or
On Facebook.
yeah. And I love it. I've got my mom back. It's great to visit you. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's great. And you're feeling better.
Yes.
So yeah, the energy's there. Have you dealt with keto flu? You know, like when you feel like you have flu-like symptoms for no reason?
Yes, but I try to just ignore it because I know it's part of the whole program.
Getting adapted.
Yeah.
But we also found out you needed electric lights. You needed electrolytes, right?
But certain kinds.
You're like me, yeah.
Yeah, I can't have the kind with too much salt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you started getting swollen.
Yep.
But you did need electrolytes, because I remember going to see you and you'd be like, I don't feel like doing nothing, and I don't want to let my dog out, I don't want to breathe, I don't want to answer my phone. And I said, oh, you need salt. And so we'd give her some electrolytes, and then you've kind of found the balance, like you need it like every other day or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's really cool. Electrolytes. Yeah, so is there anything, if you could say one thing to help someone?
It reminds me of a commercial. Try it. You might like it.
Right. How long do you think you need to try it before you like it?
It is at least a month to 6 weeks to pass into that stage where you can accept some of the discomfort. Like sometimes I like fruit and I miss fruit, you know. And that was one of the ways that I cheated when I first did it, was I would just buy my frozen fruit and
Well, you needed it to
take all the pain away.
You needed it to poop. That's what you always told me. I know, but you always said,
Randy, delete that.
You always said you needed fruit. That was your excuse in the past, right?
Right.
But you haven't had any fruit.
Right, just milk of magnesia. And
Right.
my fruit tastes good.
Oh, and you did have one cheat day. Do you remember that? So Randy and I were having a cheat day, and I asked you, I said, it's not fair if we're providing mom food. It's not fair if we don't at least offer a cheat day for her. So we offered. We're so bad. So we offered you.
Ike and Mike's?
No, you didn't get that. You got a king sub.
Oh, okay.
A steak and cheese sub. How did that make you feel?
Wonderful. Every bite. I left the outside of the bun, but I ate that soft bread on the inside, and oh, it's been so long since I tasted bread.
You're a bread girl anyways, right?
Yeah.
Like you love bread. Yeah.
Especially if I make it myself.
But how did you feel after the next 2 days?
Within the 2 days, my body was hurting.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop for a while. It wasn't just a half a day or whatever. It was, wow, it hurt to get up off my chair. It hurt to bend over and pick up the dog leash.
Yeah.
Everything I did was more painful.
So are you tempted to cheat anytime soon, or?
Yes.
Now your birthday's coming up. Are you going to cheat for your birthday?
Probably not. Probably not. It's not worth it to be in pain. So
I was thinking of doing like a seafood thing for your birthday. I think that would be fun because seafood's something you enjoy.
shrimp
and scallops, and maybe if I can find some haddock, some fresh haddock,
fish.
that would be good. So I don't think that's horrible. Fish is
legal. It's the breading and stuff that you put on it.
Right. I was thinking naked everything. Naked haddock, naked shrimp, and then do bacon wrap scallops, because we've had that before. That was good. So yeah, if you could say one thing to get someone on carnivore, try it. You might like it.
Actually, I was serious when I said that. I know that my son has a weight problem, and he wants to lose weight because his youngest daughter is getting married, and he cried to me on the phone, and he said, "Mom,"
manly cry.
Yes, a manly cry. He said, "Mom, it's not working. What are you doing? You keep talking about losing 5 ounces, and it's coming off. What are you doing?" I said, "Elizabeth, talk to your brother."
Actually, no one had to tell me. I'm like a dog with a bone. I can't not talk about things to people. And once I found out he was slightly willing, I sent him all the videos that I could think of. There's Bill in Alaska. He's 700 pounds. He just started carnivore, and all he can do is hit a weight punching bag and eat meat. And then there's hundreds of people doing carnivore right now, and they're seeing such huge results. How can you not tell people about it? So.
And when you do decide to try it, and you set yourself a limit as to how many weeks, I said, give it at least a month, and preferably a month and a half. But the other thing is, don't listen to anybody else for a while, because so many people.
They'll kill your kidneys.
It's not a
hurt
traditional way of eating.
It's not.
It's
the ultimate elimination diet, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Is there anything else? Any other parting bits of wisdom?
Hire a maid.
Have someone else cook your food so that they can deal with the grease.
And a dishwasher.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this talk with Mom. She's 84 years old, just starting out on the carnivore diet, I guess 10 weeks in. And I hope this inspired you to try it. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and we wish you all the best. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Mom has lost about 30 pounds to date, and the reason we're sitting alongside of the road is not because we're homeless hobos. It's because I wanted the Sleepy Creek Lake behind us, And so I set everything up so that Mom and I were looking at the lake and you all were looking at the side of the road. So thanks for joining us. I wish you all the best and God bless.